Welcome back to Mixing Up with Barry Ross, Better Detroit Movement. If you'd like to call in, 313-868-0342 or 313-868-0351. I'm Evan Nash, co-host, and I'm here with
Erica Green. I'm a host of Better Detroit Youth Movement.
All right, today's segment is on community police relations. Now we're going to go to a video of our interviews based on today's segment.
Welcome back to Mixing Up with Barry Ross. I'm Erica Green, host of Better Detroit Youth Movement, with my co-host, Evan. And today's topic is
community police relations.
You actually see the twist of the story. It's not all on the police, it's more on the community, from what we hear.
Now, we're in an area of Brightmoor community, right now on the streets of Finkel and Evergreen. This community is where the crime rate is very high and the response from the police is very low. Some in the community will even say that this community has been forgotten.
Yeah, so actually, we're going to go into the conversation. Back to Erica.
My first question is, how do you feel about the community police relationship in today's world? What do you think of the relationship between the community and police today?
Well, it needs to get better.
Most definitely.
Well, that said, it needs to get better. It's not good. I don't see it as being the police not trying. Just it's harder for them. Their job is harder right now. I don't feel that it's been very good, and I'd say in the last 10, 15 years, I don't feel it's been very good.
Could use some improvement like everything else. Could use a lot of improvement. Use less corruption. I don't know. Let's go on.
Let's go on. Please do tell.
I mean, I don't know. As far as like, I mean, I don't know what could make a big change in the long run, but I know the safety in the neighborhoods is stuff that affects us every day.
I feel that we need more police presence on the streets. You know, I feel that with the closing of the police stations, you know, they're starting to close at a certain time. I feel like, you know,
that's 4 o'clock now.
4 o'clock. I feel like that's causing a tension, you know, between the community and the police, because the police job is to protect and serve, you know, the community. So if we can't run to these police stations to Haven, then who can we run to?
It's all about you. If you get involved, if you get out there, you start talking to people, you'll find out that there's a lot of people that's on the same page you are.
I think it could be better, but I think it's destroyed mainly because of the youth. They really don't know what's going on, and they listen to music, and right now I don't think they're in the right state of mind, but everything can be brought back together.
I mean, it's horrible. And not just because of the police, but at the same time, I mean, when you look at, and I hate to use a racial issue, but when you look at like a Caucasian, you might look at the police like they're to serve him. But when you look at how we look at it, it's like we look at it like it's our parents or something, or like a warlord or something. Like when we drive down the street or anything like that, something like since like they go to police, let me tighten up.
Now, who do you feel is more accountable for this relationship? Do you feel it's the police or the community who's more accountable on this relationship?
I think both sides.
Both sides.
Basically, I think it's both. It's both parts. It takes not only the community, but our city and those who govern over us in the city coming together as a team and working together as a team.
Probably more so the community than the police. I mean, they got more opportunity to make change and help the neighborhood become safer than the police do. They're here every day.
That's a good question. I probably would say I would have to be 50-50 in my eyes, because one party can't solve nothing.
I feel like it's half and half. You know, I feel like in this day and age, it's a lot of distrust, you know, in the police, you know, system, and even in just the political system in general. It's a lot of distrust between the community and the, you know, the people. So I feel like, you know, it's the people's job to accept the police and respect the police, and it's the police job to give respect to the people and, you know, give that community relationship, you know, between the police and the community.
You know, I can't put the burden on both. You know, because it takes two to tango, so to speak.
Half and half, so to speak.
Exactly.
What can be a solution to make this relationship better, to keep it tighter, to improve it? Do you have any, ideas or solutions? How would you think? What do you think would be a step to take to better it?
Now that, I don't know.
Any
I
ideas?
don't have no ideas right now. All it takes is a simple conversation. If some people just sit down and talk, they can do anything, and that's all it takes.
I think the people as a whole need to come out when they have community meetings and voice their opinion about what's going on in our city and take part in the decisions that are being made in terms of looking out and taking watch over the city and addressing the issue of crime and everything that's going on in our city.
Like have a lot of get-togethers, like have barbecues, have different kind of events and venues to do something at Belle Isle. It's a lot of kids out here who like playing basketball. Do more events with the youth.
The same thing. They need to get out into the community and start, driving by. Hello, how you doing?
Interaction.
I would say that's a tough one.
I would say the community.
You would say the community?
Yeah, just because we're the ones that choose, our officials, like the governors or whatever. Right. We vote on these things.
At the end of the day, us, the community, we got the power to change any law.
That's
But
true.
We gotta stick together, and with that said, that's why things are the way they are now.
We'd like to thank those who did get the time to do the interviews. It was actually very difficult to find those who wanted to speak up on their true feelings about the police and their own community.
You're right. As we said, doing the interviews was a lot of, once we mentioned police and community as a topic, it was no thanks.
Yeah.
It was exactly no. So we got turned away a lot of times, but we still strive to basically become that the community voice and get each other opinion on things.
And if the community and the people are the voice, how do we find ourselves to be afraid to speak on how we feel going on in our own community and the police? If our opinion doesn't count, then how can the people have power? How can we choose to be afraid? It doesn't make sense. We have to speak up. We have to let them know, because if we don't, who will? Things won't change. They'll get worse, not better. We have to speak up. We have to be bold. That's how we spread hope. We let things continue this way without speaking. That's how we spread fear.
And we also don't mean to make anyone right or wrong or put them on a high stool, but it's just to make things at equal level. Because if you look at it, it's more of, a lot of people thought that it's not on the police. It's not the blame of them. They said that it should be more on the community, because the police is the community. So how do we separate them if our district, if we're have our police in our community? So how do we separate our police and community? They actually are together, because they're work with the district. So if they working with the district, wouldn't they be part of the community?
They would be, but that's the problem. There is a border. There is a line between, and that's the problem. We have to get rid of this hyphen that's between community-police relations. We're all supposed to be one and united. When you speak to your elders about how the community was entwined with the police back in the 50s or 60s or 70s, you hear stories about how they knew their area. They knew the store owners. They knew the neighbors. They was on name basis. They were entwined. They're familiar. They were comfortable. We have to get back in that neighborly mentality. We have to unite again.
And work together in fixing the problems, because a lot of the times we sit and want to blame the police, but it's how can we blame them when we either take part of the crime or we acknowledge the crime, but due to the person being our sister or our brother, our cousin or our best friend, and they committing the crime, but we don't want to call the police and say it because we have some sort of bond to them. So would you be more a part of the problem as well?
Yeah, that's true. But then you have to take into account for police that don't respond to the calls at all. But that goes back to history. They go back on things that happened to them in the past, and the community treats the police a certain way or feel about them a certain way because of the past. But why? Where's the genesis in all that? Why do we feel this way about the police? Why do we fear them? Why are we afraid? Why do we feel they're the enemy? It's based on our upbringing, what our parents showed us, how they spoke about the police. A lot of people didn't get the opportunity to get their own experience or gain their own opinion on the police. They were shown and told by their parents automatically every time they seen some cop pulling somebody by. I look at them, they're profiling, they're messing with us. But that's not true. This guy's probably trafficking heroin right now, but you're turning around to your 7-year-old telling them they're the bad guy instantly. They're always going to be after you, always messing with you. Beware of them. You're just instilling fear in this kid. And he's going to be aggressive towards this person or afraid without even knowing why. It all goes back to the beginning. How we upbring our kids. Do we want to we're taking away their chance to gain their own opinion on anything. We're choosing for them. We can't do that no longer. It isn't fair.
And another thing is like we got opinion that it's half and half. It should be blame on the community, blame on the police. Where it shouldn't be no blame. It's like we're all if we're looked at as a community, we look at it as one. So we work with the problem. We try to solve the problem. Like we try to divide up. The police should need to take on this, and the community should take on this. Like, why can't we take on it together?
That's true, but see, we have to get rid of this another invisible boundary that we approach each other as the enemy. The police are trained and they're told constantly by their superiors that your life is in danger when you respond to these calls. Your life will be in danger when you pull this man over for some traffic violation or just a routine traffic stop. We approach one another as the enemy. We fear one another, and when we around the police and their hand is no further than 2 inches away from that pistol, that makes us nervous. They read our body language. They see that we're nervous, and then they think something's wrong, and it makes the whole situation much, much worse. Fear. We have to erase the fear. How do we do that?
Communicate. Communication, because it's like now we don't even, it's like what's the difference between talking to a police and your friend? Like, is it a difference because of their uniform? Would you talk to them if they wasn't in their uniform? It's like, where does that boundary start? Like, why can't we communicate with them as if we communicate with our friends?
Interesting question. That's something to really think about. How can we communicate with the police? Can we treat them as another? Can we be neighborly with them? Will we treat them as one of our friends? That's interesting. That's something to really think about. Now, I really wanted to speak on.
Ask people, can they call when they call?
Oh, yes. People, with your comment or questions, please call in 313-868-0342, 868-0351, or 313-868-4336. We're accepting calls now.
Take the call.
All right, we have call number 5.
Better Detroit Youth Movement. Hello? Better Detroit Youth Movement.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm the twice past president of the, as we affectionately refer to ourselves as, the Great Northwestern District Police Community Relations Organization. And I would advise everybody in the listening audience, each one of these police precincts/districts, they have a community relations organization, and I would advise people to come to those meetings, okay? Because the police are there as part of the meeting. I know they don't run the meeting. The citizens run the meeting, and they are there to,
Can you repeat your name, please, again?
And they greet you. Yes?
Can you repeat your name, please?
My name's Tom Wilson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And, this is one way that you can actually go in there and you can actually have a face-to-face, and as they said from the rock opera, Tommy, see me, feel me, touch me. You can actually meet Detroit's finest and speak to them and the whole 9 yards. And,
all right.
I know.
I'm sorry, Tom. Tom, I wanted to ask you, how's the word spread on these meetings? How is it promoted? How do the people even learn about this? Where does the news on these meetings come from?
We have a large organization. I mean, we over here on the northwest side with the 6th and 8th precincts. On average, we have like about 120, 140 people at our meetings. And most times we meet over at Bushnell Congregational Church, which is on the northbound Southfield Freeway, right there. It's a BP gas station right there where Grand River and Southfield runs in. And we have our meetings right there at 7 o'clock, the last Monday of the month. The word, basically, it spreads by mouth, in essence. I would advise, like I said, wherever you live, call your community relations division of the district and ask them when is the community relations meeting, what time and what date.
That's excellent. Thank you so much,
Thank
caller.
you for calling in.
Okay. All right.
Person.
Caller, you're on Mixing It Up.
Yes, my name is,
Can you speak up a little? We can't hear you.
yes, my name is Steve. I'm a long-time resident of the city of Detroit.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm a long-time resident of the city of Detroit. And, my comment is, basically, they're just trying to take away the autonomy of the citizens of Detroit. And you know what I mean by autonomy, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, see, like 1,000 years ago when Jeffrey Feiger ran for governor, things changed when nobody went out and voted for the man. They let John Engler slip in, right? John Engler he had no constituents down here in Detroit, so he didn't owe nobody in Detroit anything, so he did exactly what he did. He took away all Detroit's autonomy, and in regards to everything, because at one time you had to be a resident to be a resident of the city to be a policeman in the city. John Engler changed that. You
Can
see?
we ask you a
And
question?
the thing was, see, nobody voted for Jeffrey Feiger, and they just let John Engler slip in, and he just did exactly what he wanted to do.
How do you feel that affected the community-police relationship?
Because have you noticed that the city of Detroit is going to start getting bright again? Have you noticed that? I have. And not a lot of these guys don't live in the city.
Okay, I have to ask you, who would you say? Oh, I'm sorry.
Who would you hold accountable for
Yes.
the connection, the communication between the police and the community? Would it be more on the community or the police?
I say it's more on it's the community. I say the community because nobody gets out and votes for anything. That's what the problem is.
So you say it starts with voting on our community-police
That's
relationship.
right. I mean, nobody. You think about this. How many of us? When I say us, I mean the people most of the people that populate the city. When I say us, that's what I mean us.
So voting is gonna better our relationship with the police. Voting is gonna stop on brutality and make the police want to respond more to calls. Voting is gonna make the police feel more comfortable and not approach the community and the citizens not as an enemy but as a friend. Voting is gonna make this relationship better. Voting is gonna decrease on crime and get our police numbers back up again. Voting is gonna open the precincts after 4 again. It all goes back to that, is what you're saying.
To bring back the autonomy of the people. Because, you got too many individuals, running across 8 Mile.
Can you speak up a little?
Yes, please.
Who's left is the individuals that want to, make something of the city, but nobody listens to us. Because nobody votes. I mean, you stop and think about it. If you have 10 million people and only 1 million of them vote, what's going to happen? If I'm the political individual and put in
Somebody
all
doesn't
the,
get elected.
all the things, I can change anything I want. Why? Because nobody's voting. I can do what I want. Am I not right?
All right, thank you so much for your call, sir. Caller, you're on Mixing It Up with Barry Ross. Hello. On to the next one. Hello.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Can you speak up a little? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Hello. How you all doing?
Oh, we're good.
I know. I'm real proud of y'all. I be watching every week. And, just thankful how you all inspire me. Just you all being young. And I just want to thank the gentleman for allowing you all to have a half an hour on the show, mixing it up. And I just wanted to say, more than anything, I'm real proud of y'all. I've been watching for
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm not going to offer any comments. I just wanted to say someone is looking, someone is listening, and keep up the good work. And I'm sure, let me see, the more you learn, the more you earn. That's far as like getting more knowledge. The more you learn, the more you earn. That's what I wanted to say today.
Thank you very
Thank you
much for
so
calling
much.
in.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to thank everyone once again for calling in with your comments and or questions. Excuse me. Referring back to the caller, speaking on voting. Now I understand that voting for certain, running officials can alter, I guess, how the police are, I guess, armied out into the streets and their duties and what areas they may have to contribute to watching over. But yet it goes back to the people. We're focusing on the people, how the police perceives us, how we perceive them, how they treat us, and how we treat them, past, present, and how we want to fix that and change that for the future. Now, some official, he's not on the streets. He's not pulling collars and slapping cuffs. He's not committing crimes. It's the community and the police together. We want to focus on that. We want to change that. We want to spread the hope and change rather than this fear and just fear of death and getting arrested and just being bullied. So,
well, my viewpoint of when he called in about why he mentioned is one source of our voice, is one way we can get out and to acknowledge ourselves. Because if we don't voice, how can we complain? How can we say, well, we don't got this, we don't got that? So I think from that point of view is where he coming for. Like, if we get out and vote, that's somewhat of our votes, because if you think about it, we still vote for who become mayor in our city, like who we work with. It's like that. I think that's where he more of was going with it. So, but I actually agree with him, because it's like a lot of times, 10% of Detroit voted?
that is true.
Like, vote.
It's true.
November is around the corner.
It is. This is election year.
Right.
Now, people do need to take more initiative and take the initiative to want to find out, are there community police relation meetings and where are they? How can we get to them? What days are they held on? What locations? If the community did take the initiative to want to do more and really fight more for the change, imagine your entire community fighting and speaking up, showing to these city hall meetings and council meetings and going to these community police relationship meetings. Imagine the change that would happen, the voice being heard, the change can come. They can't help but hear you. Imagine colliding and just combining and really getting their voice out there. So spread the word. Do your own research. Find out where these community police relation meetings are. Tell your community about it. Heck, make some flyers if you like. I know I will.
Because if you don't ask any questions or you don't tell them what you want, how can you expect anything from them?
Yes.
Like, even from we have to, I'm not going to sit here and act like I just know so much, but I'm still learning. It actually changed my viewpoint of how things go about with the police. It's not just them. It's not just the community. It's all of us, even including me. It's like we got to be able to go out and gain that knowledge, know what's going on in our community. How can we help them? Like, they may need help. They may not know where to start from or where to go from. It's like, how can we bring that to them?
We can't automatically assume they know which houses are the drug houses and what blocks are, the bad ones, and constantly, people are getting robbed on. We have to speak up and tell them. We have to notify the police. We have to take the notion to inform them. Ignorance will get us nowhere. We have to be knowledgeable about on both sides. Now, do you want to accept this one call? We have another caller.
Yes, we'll accept the one call.
All right, I've been staring at it. I'm sorry. Caller, hello.
Hey, how you doing? I would like to comment on the topic right here, where about the police and community relations. How do we feel? Definitely want to speak on that.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right what he's saying as far as, community stepping up to the plate, helping out the police, But then at the same time, the police has to step in and also reinforce what we're trying to do. I mean, it's been many a times where I have set out and witnessed the crime occurring, and I said, you know what, I'm going to report this, I'm going to get involved, I'm going to make sure that this is addressed, and there is no police response. Now, what do? Do you become a vigilante? Of course not, because you don't want to get yourself hurt or get involved in a situation that the police probably won't be able to help you get out of.
Then what do we do?
It starts with who's going to You know, if we're going to team up, we need to team up all together, the community as well as the police.
I agree.
Yes.
You said, I didn't hear you. What did you say? Say it again.
I said I agree
We
with
agree
you.
with you.
Like, it's not, we separate everything. We separate community and the police, but the police working within the community. So wouldn't
True.
that make them part of the community?
Say that again. Repeat your question.
I said, we separate the police and the community. And if the police work within the community, wouldn't that make them a part of the community?
I would think so.
All
I would
right.
think so. If the police was in the community, is what you're saying, would that also make the police a part of our community? Yes. And I wouldn't mind going to Officer Mr. Johnson that maybe lives on Evergreen or on 7 Mile and letting them know of a drug house that's somewhere in our neighborhood, in our community, and have the police respond to something like that. I think that would be perfect as far as the police probably living in the community.
All right. Thank you so much for your call and your time. We appreciate that. Thank you for being a fighter and wanting his voice to be heard.
Thank you.
All right. So.
Well, my last comments was, if we think about the law and who makes the law, the people makes the law, and without the people, there is no law, there is no jobs, there is no standard of where we go about. And the law and the police are put in place to basically make sure the values of law is made and followed through so that we can feel safe, so that we could understand. But now laws are broken.
Now, it's not our place to constantly have to remind the police that there is crime in our neighborhood, but if we don't, then who will? I mean, we have to. We just have to take that approach. Let's remind them. Let's beat down their head like there's some 5-year-old who keeps doing it over and over again. Let's get in their faces and let's remind them that our community is a problem.
So get involved. You can also look at Better Detroit Youth Movement on Facebook, or you can give me a call at 313-739-5590.
You can reach me at 313-898-5040.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.
Days, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33.